The day the river turned black, the jungle chose the monkey they once tried to silence. But long before that day, before the fear and the sickness and the whispers of doom, there was only a small gray monkey who did not belong. His name was Kiro. He was born on a humid night when the sky cracked with thunder, and the rain fell so hard it bent the tallest branches. The elders later said it was a sign. Some said storms bring strength. Others said storms bring trouble. Kiro grew up hearing both. The jungle kingdom was vast and alive with order. Lions ruled from the golden clearing. Elephants served as advisors, guardians of memory and law. Leopards patrolled the borders. Parrots carried news across the treetops, like flying messengers. Even the crocodiles had their territory along the river, and none dared question their control of the waters. The monkeys lived high in the eastern canopy. They were playful, loud, and clever in ways that made other animals shake their heads. They valued agility and boldness. The young ones competed constantly. Who could leap the farthest, steal fruit the fastest, shout the loudest? Kiro was different. While the others raced across branches, he paused to watch how the leaves shifted when the wind changed. While they laughed and boasted, he asked questions that made them uncomfortable. Why do the ants rebuild in a new place after rain? Why do the birds move their nests before a storm? Why does the river sound louder some nights? At first, they laughed kindly. Then they laughed sharply. Then they stopped laughing at all. His own father grew impatient. "Stop staring at nothing," he would say. "Swing, compete, be like the others." His mother loved him, but even she worried. "The jungle rewards strength," she whispered one evening. "It does not reward thinking too much." Kiro tried. He truly did. He joined races and leaped from tree to tree until his arms ached. He shouted louder. He forced laughter into his mouth, even when it felt wrong. But at night, when the jungle quieted and the moonlight touched the river, he returned to watching and listening. And slowly, the distance between him and the others grew. Conversations paused when he approached. Plans were made without him. When fruit was shared, he received the smallest piece. "He makes others uncomfortable," one uncle muttered. "He looks at you like he sees through you," another said. "He doesn't belong in this troop." The words hurt more than claws ever could. Kiro learned to sit alone on the highest branch of an old baobab tree where the wind was strongest. Up there, he felt less like a mistake and more like a part of something larger. The jungle had patterns. Everything had patterns. Even rejection had a pattern. Years passed, and Kiro grew taller, though not broader. He was lean and quick, but not impressive. He was quiet, but not timid. There was a steadiness in his eyes that unsettled those who preferred noise over silence. The first sign of danger came at the end of a long, dry season. The river, which usually shimmered silver under the sun, seemed darker. At first it was subtle, a faint cloudiness after midday. The crocodiles grumbled, but blamed the elephants for stirring mud while bathing. Then the fish began to behave strangely. They swam near the surface, gasping. Birds circled, but did not dive. A bitter smell lingered in the air at dusk. Kiro noticed. He noticed that the wind had shifted direction more frequently. He noticed fewer birds nesting near the northern cliffs. He noticed faint tremors in the earth late at night, too rhythmic to be natural. When he mentioned it to his troop, they brushed him aside. "You see danger everywhere," a cousin scoffed. "You just want attention," another snapped. But Kiro did not want attention. He wanted understanding. One morning, a young deer collapsed at the riverbank after drinking. Panic spread like fire through dry grass. Within days, more animals grew weak. The water turned nearly black in places, thick and wrong. The Lion King summoned the entire kingdom to the golden clearing. His mane, once bright as the sun, seemed dull in the heavy air. "Our river is poisoned," he roared. "Without it, the jungle will fall. Find the cause." Strong animals rushed to act. Leopards ran upstream. Elephants marched to inspect the banks. Parrots flew in widening circles. Accusations flew as quickly as the birds. The crocodiles have stirred something ancient. The elephants have crushed the riverbed. Perhaps the humans beyond the forest have cursed us. Fear is louder than reason. Kiro climbed his baobab and watched. He saw that the discoloration was stronger after sunset. He noticed that the northern wind carried a scent not of rot, but of disturbed earth. He remembered the tremors. At dusk, he crept toward the northern cliffs alone. The path was harsh and unfamiliar. Thorny vines snagged his fur. Sharp stones cut his palms. He almost turned back more than once. Every insult he had ever heard echoed in his mind. You don't belong. You are weak. You think too much. He clenched his teeth and kept moving. Near the cliffs, he crouched low and peered through thick brush. There they were. A large group of wild boars, stronger and broader than any monkey, were digging deep pits into the earth. They had uncovered dark stones buried beneath layers of soil. To clean the stones, they had carved a small channel from a muddy stream and redirected it downhill, straight toward the river. The water running from the pits was black. The tremors were their digging. The missing birds had fled the noise. The bitter smell was the disturbed minerals. Kiro's heart pounded. He leaned closer, straining to hear their conversation. These stones will make us powerful, one boar grunted. The southern herds will trade anything for them. And if the river suffers? Another asked. The jungle is not our concern, came the reply. A twig snapped under Kiro's foot. Silence fell. Tusks turned toward him. Who is there? He ran. Branches tore at him as he leaped desperately from tree to tree. The boars charged beneath, surprisingly fast. One rammed a tree trunk, shaking it violently. Kiro barely held on. A tusk grazed his leg. Pain flared. He saw a narrow ravine ahead and gathered all his strength. If he failed, he would fall. He leaped. For a moment, there was only air. Then his fingers caught the opposite branch. He swung himself up as the boars skidded to a halt on the edge. They snarled, but did not follow. Kiro did not stop until he reached the baobab, shaking and breathless. At dawn, he went straight to the golden clearing. The kingdom was gathered again, more desperate than before. Several animals lay weak nearby. The river had grown darker overnight. Kiro stepped forward. Laughter rippled through the monkeys. The quiet one speaks? A leopard sneered. Kiro's voice trembled at first, but steadied. The poison comes from the northern cliffs. The boars are digging black stones. They have redirected a stream into the river. The Lion King studied him. And you are certain? I saw it. And why should we believe you? The clearing fell silent. Kiro felt every year of rejection pressing against him. This was the moment when doubt could crush him completely. Because, he said softly, I have been watching. Something in his tone, calm, unwavering, stilled the murmurs. The Lion King nodded to the elephants. We will investigate. A group marched north. Kiro led them despite the wary glances. When they reached the cliffs, the evidence was undeniable. The pits, the redirected stream, the black runoff. The elephants used their massive strength to block the channel. The leopards confronted the boars. The Lion King himself declared the digging a violation of the kingdom's balance. The boars, faced with united resistance, retreated beyond the borders. The stream was restored. Days passed. The river slowly cleared. Fish returned. The bitter snow faded. Relief spread across the jungle like sunlight after a storm. That evening, under a sky painted gold and purple, the Lion King called Kiro forward. You were dismissed, the king said, ignored. Yet you saw what others did not. Wisdom is not noise. It is attention. It is patience. The monkeys shifted uncomfortably. Kiro's father stepped forward slowly. We were wrong, he said quietly. The words did not erase the years of loneliness. but they mattered. From that day on, when strange things occurred, when the wind shifted oddly or migrations changed unexpectedly, the kingdom sought Kiro's insight. He did not boast. He did not mock those who once rejected him. He listened. He asked questions. He observed. And in time, the young monkeys began to sit beside him on the baobab, asking their own questions about ants and clouds and rivers. The monkey who had once been unwelcome became the most trusted mind in the jungle, not because he demanded respect, but because he earned it through endurance. The river never turned black again, but whenever the wind carried a strange scent or the earth trembled faintly at night, the kingdom remembered the lesson they almost learned too late. Sometimes the one who stands alone in silence is the one who sees the truth first. And sometimes wisdom grows strongest in the soil of rejection.